Hello. Hello. Can you hear me? I know you can. 안녕하세요. Salut. Hola. Ciao. Merhaba. Darova. Konnichiwa. Ni hao. And namaste. I hope you're doing well. Because I am. And let me tell you, it's been a pretty cold day today. And I did some garden work. And it was freezing. But luckily, I was well equipped to deal with the temperature. Anyway, in this video, I'm going to read a little part out of The Power of Now. And I didn't even realize it, but it's actually genius because I started it, but then I'm like kind of procrastinating on reading it further. But if I combine it, reading and recording, it's 2 in 1, right? 2 birds with 1 ASMR video. But before I get into the reading, I'm going to tippy tap on the cover because I like the sound of it. And honestly, it's one of the nicer looking books. I don't know, it comes with this like cover thingy, but like the hardcover, it just looks so clean. But it doesn't only look clean, it also sounds so crisp. of presence. It's not what you think it is. You keep talking about the state of presence as the key. I think I understand it intellectually, but I don't know if I have ever truly experienced it. I wonder, is it what I think it is, or is it something entirely different? It's not what you think it is. You can't think about presence, and the mind can't understand it. Understanding presence is being present. Try a little experiment. Close your eyes and say to yourself, I wonder what my next thought is going to be. Then become very alert and wait for the next thought. Be like a cat watching a mouse hole. A moose hole. What thought is going to come out of the moose hole? Try it now. Okay, I'm going to close my eyes. Okay, I can't. I can't do it while I'm recording. But I guess it's a interesting experiment. Well, I had to wait for quite a long time before a thought came in. Yeah, I didn't wanna, Exactly. As long as you are in a state of intense presence, you are free of thought. You are still yet highly alert. Yeah, that's how I would describe it as well. But it was a bit like the circumstance was a little different. But I think if I had done it without the recording, like I would feel still but highly alert. The instant your conscious attention sinks below a certain level, thought rushes in. The mental noise returns, the stillness is lost, you are back in time. To test their degree of presence, some Zen masters have been known to creep up on their students from behind and suddenly hit them with a stick. Quite a shock. If the student had been fully present and in a state of alertness, if he had kept his loin girded and his lamp burning, which is one of the analogies that Jesus uses for presence, he would have noticed the master coming up from behind and stopped him or stepped aside. But if he were hit, that would mean he was immersed in thought, which is to say absent, unconscious. To stay present in everyday life, it helps to be deeply rooted within yourself. Otherwise, the mind, which is incredible momentum, will drag you along like a wild river. What do you mean by rooted within yourself? It means to inhabit your body fully, to always have some of your attention in the inner energy field of your body, to feel the body from within, so to speak. Body awareness keeps you present. It anchors you in the now. Beauty arises in the stillness of your presence. What you have just described is something that I occasionally experience for brief moments when I am alone and surrounded by nature. Yes, Zen masters use the word satori to describe a flash of insight, a moment of no mind and total presence. Although satori is not a lasting transformation, be grateful when it comes, for it gives you a taste of enlightenment. You may indeed have experienced it many times without knowing what it is and realizing its importance. Presence is needed to become aware of the beauty, the majesty, the sacredness of nature. Have you ever gazed up into the infinite of space on a clear night? Awestruck by the absolute stillness and inconceivable vastness of it. Have you listened, truly listened, to the sound of a mountain stream in the forest, or to the song of a blackbird at dusk on a quiet summer evening? To become aware of such things, the mind needs to be still. You have to put down for a moment your personal baggage of problems of the past and future, as well as your knowledge. Otherwise, you will see but not see, hear but not hear. Your total presence is required. Beyond the beauty of the external forms, there is more here. Something that cannot be named, something ineffable, some deep inner holy essence. Whenever and wherever there is beauty, this inner essence shines through somehow. It only reveals itself to you when you are present. Could it be that this nameless essence and your presence are one and the same? Would it be there without your presence? Go deeply into it. Find out for yourself. Using and relinquishing negativity. All inner resistance is experienced as negativity in one form or another. All negativity is resistance. In this context, the two words are almost synonymous. Negativity ranges from irritation or impatience to fierce anger, from a depressed mood or sullen resentment to suicidal despair. Sometimes the resistance triggers the emotional pain body, in which case even a minor situation may produce intense negativity such as anger, depression, or deep grief. The ego believes that through negativity it can manipulate reality and get what it wants. It believes that through it can attract a desirable condition or dissolve an undesirable one. A Course in Miracles rightly points out that whenever you are unhappy, there is the unconscious belief that the unhappiness buys you what you want. If you, the mind, did not believe that unhappiness works, why would you create it? The fact is, of course, that negativity does not work. Instead of attracting a desirable condition, it stops it from arising. Instead of dissolving an undesirable one, it keeps it in place. Its only useful function is that it strengthens the ego, and that is why the ego loves it. Once you have identified with some form of negativity, you do not want to let go, and on a deeply unconscious level, you do not want positive change. It would threaten your identity as a depressed, angry, or hard-done-by person. You will then ignore, deny, or sabotage the positive in your life. This is a common phenomenon. It is also insane. Negativity is totally unnatural. It is a psychic pollutant, and there is a deep link between the poisoning and destruction of nature and the vast negativity that has accumulated in the collective human psyche. No other life form on the planet knows negativity. Only humans, just as no other life form violates and poisons the earth that sustains it. Have you ever seen an unhappy flower or a stressed oak tree? Have you come across a depressed dolphin, a frog that has a problem with self-esteem, a cat that cannot relax, or a bird that carries hatred and resentment? The only animals that may occasionally experience something akin to negativity or show signs of neurotic behavior are those that live in close contact with humans, and so link into the human mind and its insanity. Watch any plant or animal and let it teach you acceptance of what it is. Surrender to the now. Let it teach you being. Let it teach you integrity, which means to be one, to be yourself, to be real. Let it teach you how to live and how to die, and how not to make living and dying into a problem. I have lived with several Zen masters, all of them cats. Even ducks have taught me important spiritual lessons. Just watching them is a meditation. How peacefully they float along, at ease with themselves, totally present in the now, dignified and perfect as only a mindless creature can be. Occasionally, however, two ducks will get into a fight, sometimes for no apparent reason, or because one duck has strayed into another's private space. The fight usually lasts only for a few seconds, and then the ducks separate, swim off in the opposite directions, and vigorously flap their wings a few times. They then continue to swim on peacefully, as if the fight had never happened. When I observed that for the first time, I suddenly realized that by flapping their wings they were releasing surplus energy, thus preventing it from becoming trapped in their body and turning into negativity. This is natural wisdom, and it is easy for them because they do not have a mind that keeps the past alive unnecessarily and then builds an identity around it. How do we stop negativity from arising, and how do we get rid of it once it is there? As I said, you stop it from arising by being fully present, but don't become discouraged. There are as yet few people on the planet who can sustain a state of continuous presence, although some are getting close to it. Soon, I believe, there will be many more. Whenever you notice that some form of negativity has arisen within you, look on it, not as a failure, but as a helpful signal that is telling you, wake up, get out of your mind, be present. There's a novel by Aldous Huxley called Island, written in his later years when he became very interested in spiritual teachings. It tells the story of a man shipwrecked on a remote island cut off from the rest of the world. This island contains a unique civilization. The unusual thing about it is that its inhabitants, unlike those of the rest of the world, are actually sane. The first thing that the man notices are the colorful parrots perched in the trees, and they seem to be constantly croaking the words, "Attention, here and now, attention, here and now." We later learn that the islanders taught themselves these words in order to be reminded continuously to stay present. So whenever you feel negativity arising within you, whether caused by an external factor, a thought, or even nothing in particular that you are aware of, look on it as a voice saying, "Attention, here and now, wake up." Even the slightest irritation is significant and needs to be acknowledged and looked at, otherwise there will be a cumulative buildup of unobserved reactions. As I said before, you may be able to just drop it once you realize that you don't want to have this energy field inside you and that it serves no purpose. But then make sure that you drop it completely. If you cannot drop it, just accept that it is there and take your attention into the feeling, as I pointed out earlier. I'm thinking how I try to deal with negative emotion. One thing that helps is telling yourself that nothing is as good or as bad as it seems. And the more I think about that phrase, the more things I find, that the more like examples I find for it. Like the more situations I can like relate it to. Another thing I like to do is sort of trying to indulge in whatever emotion I'm feeling. Like, whenever there is some negative emotion or something that is distracting me, I try to indulge and really try to live out that emotion, and I try to understand by asking myself like a lot of questions, and then taking notes. That helps with my brain, because it feels like I can like dump it out those two things usually help me a lot. Because I always see it like there's so many ways to live out what you're feeling, right? Your emotions. But you should never live out your emotions through other people. At least not negative emotions. So that's why I try to live them out solely by myself. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your night. Subscribe if you haven't. And I'll see you around. Take it easy. Love you.